Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WITV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Hey friends, please join me for just a minute and imagine how amazing you'd feel living the unique and distinct life you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love with people you love in places you love, and all the while creating something of real value for others. That's what I call a life of significance, and I can tell you it makes a very happy life. And today, I'm happy to start the show a little differently than normal, because today I'm going to read a poem that I wrote to bring our next guest onto the show. And it goes like this. 'Twas a morning back in January, and I was strolling through posts, looking for messages that would encourage me most, when I stumbled upon a challenge from a woman I know, a wild-hearted world traveler. She said, "If you don't go, you won't know." In an instant, I wanted this wandering ant to appear on our show that inspires others to overcome fear and to use the unique gifts that only to them were given to live the inspired lives they are meant to be living. And then Robin said, "Yes, I will be your next guest, and I promise your great listeners that I'll give them my best." And so for all our great listeners out there, I'm happy to welcome Robin Finney, the Wandering Aunt, to our show. Hey, Robin, welcome to the Something Significant show.
Hi, Matt. Wow, what an introduction. That's amazing. I love that so much. Thank you.
That's good. Ever since back in February, I saw this Wandering Aunt thing, and the first thing I thought was, when what to my wandering eyes should appear? And I couldn't figure out how I was going to put it all together. And about 2 days ago, it all came. So
It's amazing. So good.
So will you just get us started by telling us what you're doing these days to leave your mark of significance on the world?
Yeah. So I'm actually coming to everyone live from Brazil right now. And that is part of how I'm leaving my mark. I am a nomad. And for the past 5 years, I've been traveling all over the world, solo traveling to 22 countries, I believe, across 6 continents. And I really share in my travels and my journeys that you can be anywhere in the world, even if you don't know the language, even if you don't have any connections there, and just allow your authentic self and your energy to radiate. And from there, you will attract the most beautiful experiences into your life.
Yeah, it's there's a connection through the spirit, isn't there? And
Yes.
through smiling and the face and the eyes.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. So, well, let's get our friends all around the world get to know you a little bit through our mathematical formula of the happy living. It's a simple formula, but it's very powerful. And it goes like this: power plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with power. What are your practices for building up your personal power that you need to get things done, whether it's physically or mentally or spiritually or financially or emotionally? In other words, Robin, what do you do on a regular basis to create all the power you need to take really good care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty left over so you can be a giver to others?
Yes. So I have a daily meditation practice, and I've been doing that for several years. It grounds me, and there's various ways to meditate. Whether it's tuning in with a guided practice or me just focusing on my own energy and breath, getting out in nature, connecting with trees, barefoot in the ground. So I'm very intentional about that every single day. Yoga is very important to me, for that mind, body, spirit connection, and just continuing to know myself and connect on a deeper level, and also be in community with others in that regard. And writing is a big part of my practice as well. So I like to do a lot of stream of consciousness writing just to kind of get whatever's in my head out on paper. And then I also have a blog on my website, and I'm writing a book. So to me, words are, it's the expression of what's inside of your heart and getting it out into the world. And so words are really powerful for me in that regard when I think of power.
Yeah. And you can get them out exactly how you want them.
Yes.
That's what I love about words. You can just refine them and you can get them out. Okay, that's it. I got it finally. Well, that's great. Talk a little bit about something I've been exploring, the difference between a lot of our fitnesses that I describe are finite, right?
Mhm.
They're earthly. If financial fitness, you have $100, you spend it, it's gone. You have to replenish it. But spiritual energy, a lot of the things that you talked about are spiritual in nature, and that they're infinite. So talk about the difference that you can feel between earthly energy that has to be replenished and spiritual energy that's infinite.
Yeah. So spiritual energy, when I think of that, I think of abundance and generosity.
Mm.
So there's an unlimited, as you said, there's an unlimited source to be tapped into. And that's why nature to me is one of the greatest teachers for
Mm.
us. If you just get out, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. I was living in Dallas the entire time during the pandemic, and I had the neighborhood that I was living in.
Yep.
And so I would get out and walk every day, and I would notice, even just noticing the flowers in the neighbors' yards. And then, of course, in places like this that are a little more exotic, I have access to different types of nature. And it doesn't really matter where you are. There's that energy around that. So it's like you can look out in nature and just see this abundance and how it just continues, even in the dead of winter. There's still more that you know is coming. And then when spring starts to come, everything starts blooming again. And when it's earthly and physical, it's a little more limited. So we tend to, when we're just focusing on the physical of it, so money, you used money as an example. And if we're only focusing on that tangible essence, you know that it's, you can do the math and you're like, oh, I have $100. If I go and spend something that's $95, I have $5 left. And then if I go and spend $5, then I have nothing left.
Yep.
So when you connect the physical with the energetic, it's actually bringing in more of that essence and that power so
Yep.
that it can go a lot further. You can stretch, like when you hear people say you can stretch your dollar a lot further.
Yep.
I connect that back to nature.
Yep. Well, that kind of takes us into the next segment here, which is a discussion about stretching that dollar or expanding your power with a concept called a Kaizen state of mind. And it's this beautiful Japanese idea that I stumbled upon 30 some odd years ago, that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And I love it, Robin, because it's based on mindset, not circumstance. Kaizening life is knowing there's always something I can do better tomorrow than today. And it creates this optimistic, gentle, but powerful and continuously uplifting of my life day after day after day. So, Robin, how does Kaizening your life help you increase your personal power to continuously become more so you can continuously give more?
Yeah. So I love this concept so much because it allows you to focus on gratitude. And gratitude really is the top of, it's like if we have nothing else, gratitude is the top of everything. We can always find little things to be grateful for. And I was actually reflecting this morning, thinking about Viktor E. Frankl and his book, Man's Search for Meaning. And you think about if somebody could be grateful and find gratitude in a concentration camp,
Yep.
then really, and not that we compare tragedy to tragedy or circumstance to circumstance, but it really shows you that there's always something that we can focus on. And that is a big part of my mission. And one of my inquiries I've been carrying for years is how can I be travel Robin in all areas of life? Because in the past, like travel Robin was an escape. And that's when I would be most alive. And it wasn't until I recognized that what travel is for me and who it like awakens inside of me is my authentic self. And that when I can really focus on that, then I really can. So that when I was grounded for 2 years during the pandemic, I could appreciate the neighbor's flowers in the
Yep.
neighborhood. I didn't have to be in an exotic location. So it really is just that gratitude and coming back to that consistency. And that's where I say the incremental, when you talk about the Kaizen and the incremental steps, it's like start small and just every day find, even if it's one thing, like I'm writing with a pen. And I'm like, yeah, I love this pen. Like focus on that.
That's good. And just to be clear, I'm talking to Travel Robin now, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of Viktor Frankl, I love that book, and I actually use him as an example in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, because what he survived through finding purpose,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
purpose is the second element of our formula. And I've observed that major life transformations and discovery of purpose often come from devastation, like with Victor, or it can be addiction or abuse or disease or death, disaster. Something awful strips a life right to its core, and emerging out of it is this great big change. However, in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I share the transformational process that I've used to discover my purpose using inspiration. So how about you, Robin? Was there a specific moment or event or crisis or inspiration that revealed to you the purpose you were meant to live?
Yeah. So when I was first started my nomad journey in 2018, I was hiking in Patagonia, and I was on my last day there. I was climbing a mountain, or I was set to climb the mountain, and my body was just physically tired,
Mm,
done. And I thought, I had a voice that came in and said, Robin, you've gone far. It's okay if you want to turn around.
mm,
And something in me, I looked up and I could see these snow-capped mountains in the distance. And then all of a sudden, this energy came, and a clear voice came in and said, no, keep going. Trust me, keep going. So I kept going, and I made it to the top of this mountain. And I was sitting there just in awe and wonder that, of one, what the physical body can do, and
yeah,
two, just the majestic energy of the mountains. And it was on that trip that I recognized, like, or on that journey, wow, this is my purpose, is bringing others into this space. And it may not be physically climbing a mountain, but we all have some type of mountain that we're climbing. So it's really supporting others in what their mountain is, and that encouragement and inspiration to keep going.
love that. I in my research, I noticed that you'd said you had some challenges back in 2015 that I think you said included depths. Use words like depths of despair and depression,
Mm.
and that as you came out of it, this is why I want to explore this part. You said, I started asking my heart what it really wanted. And for the first time in your life, I could hear the answers. You said in 2018, I finally listened to the call of my heart, and you quit your job and sold your stuff and trusted the universe to guide you on your journey. And as I was reading through that, the transformation process that I write about in my book has three powers. So you said asking your heart what it really wanted, the power of priority. And then you said finally listening to the call of your heart, the power of the heart. And then you said you finally trusted in the universe to guide you. That's the power of the universe. So you actually called out the transformational process right out of my book before I wrote it, or maybe about the same time I was writing it.
Wow.
Talk about, and the purpose of all that power is to overcome what I write about is the gravity of life that holds the gravity that holds your life in place. And when you invoke those powers, you become more powerful than the gravity, and your life goes in the direction you want it to go. So can you just touch on that a little bit of how you found that power, and then what it's been like to be living in that power for these last 5 years?
Yeah, there is that, when you talk about that piece of when you're in that depth, in that despair, sometimes it is when we're at our rock bottom, then that is the time when we're empty. Our vessel is empty.
Yep.
And the only thing we have is to be in a space of listening and a space of receiving. And so I definitely was in that place in 2015. And that was kind of around the time when I started getting that inquiry around, like, okay, well, why is Travel Robin so vibrant, but then she comes back to her corporate life and she's miserable?
Yeah.
And so I started to connect the dots and do the work. And that's where a lot of people get afraid, because they're afraid to look. It's like if you have a junk drawer or something,
Mhm.
the rest of your house is clean, picture perfect, but then you have this junk drawer and you open it and you don't want anybody to know what's in there. It's
Mhm.
kind of like that, but it's like once we start going through it and allowing ourselves to dig, we start finding the answers.
Yeah, and we all have had experiences where we clean up our junk drawer and we feel better.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
next time we have another junk drawer, we forget that if we clean it up, we'll feel better.
exactly. And it may take 100 times sometimes before it
Correct.
sinks.
Correct. Wonderful, Robin. This has been great so far. So let's take a quick break so our sponsor can spread a little love with our audience. Happy is an intentional and lifelong journey, but it's hard to change and grow towards higher levels of happy without knowing where you're starting from. Our happy quiz puts a starting pin on the map to your happy living and provides additional guidance and motivation along the way. Just go to happyliving.com and take the happy quiz to get started on your road to happy. And we're back, and this is the Something Significant Show, and I'm your host, Matt Gersper. And my special guest star today is Robin Finney. She's an intuitive and authenticity coach, a writer, an international model and speaker, a traveler of the world, and the founder of Wandering Aunt. She teaches that true courage is taking the next step, even though your ego isn't ready, but doing it anyway in the name of your highest evolution. Robin says, your ego will never be ready. You just have to become wiser than the patterns within you. I love that, Robin. And I think you're going to love this article I found on livescience.com. It's called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. And it says the act of giving itself can be a gateway for discovering your reason for being on this planet. It tells us how science supports the idea that giving one's time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering purpose and overcoming difficulties and finding fulfillment and meaning in life. So I updated our formula. Power plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. What do you think, Robin? Has giving your time and talents and treasures been a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose and getting past difficulties you've faced and for bringing real meaning into your life?
Absolutely. Giving takes everything outside of you. So whenever you're depleted and at your lowest and you're giving to someone else, or you're doing your work in service to others rather than in service to a paycheck, it really shifts everything. And that's my whole purpose when I travel is I trust that I'm always going to meet the best people and experiences wherever I go. And I give my energy. So I talk a lot about, I may not know the language, but energy is a language. So it's by me showing up fully and allowing myself to be in my energy, I'm giving that to others. And then it's opening that gift up for them to step into their energy and their authenticity.
Yeah, I like that. There's always something you can give. And I think what you
always
said, I agree with this, that if you're feeling bad about anything, first thing you can do is just figure out a way to give somebody even just a smile, or as you say, your energy, or money if you have it, or do a chore for them. There's so many different ways you can give, and it lifts you up. Yeah. And so the science tells us that giving to others helps bring real meaning to our lives. That's kind of interesting. And I agree 100%. I just love that feeling that comes from the fourth element of significance, which is doing work that creates value for others. But I've learned that the magic of life comes not from getting more, but from giving more. But there's more to it than that. It's not just the giving that's magical. What I've been learning is from my guests and in my life too, it's when you're giving from living in your purpose, that's where you find the real magic. So tell us, Robin, how it feels to be happily living your life and giving to others through the work you were put on this planet to do, and the people all around you have taken notice. So for a minute, I'd just like you to sit back, open your heart, and have a listen to what people are saying about the impact you're making on their lives by finding and living that magic in your life. First one says, Robin Finney is one of a kind. Another, she is one of the most gentle, generous, and genuine humans I know. Seeing the world through Robin's eyes reminds us that what a magical, fun place it can be. Robin is curious, adventurous, courageous, contagious, optimistic, comforting, inspiring, creative, loyal to her dream. It's Robin's heart that matters most. It's what guides her and what she lays bare in her writings and teachings. It's not easy to be vulnerable, but she does it, and that gives us all space to do the same. She's trusting and thoughtful and kind, daring, fierce, tenacious, ever wandering, raw, unfiltered, authentic, a complete willingness to surrender. Robin is a symbol of inspiration to both men and women. She's living life based on her own desires and dreams and expectations. Brilliant, intuitive, an inspiring adventurer, both throughout the globe and in her heart. She's helped me discover things about myself that I couldn't see on my own. Her meditations have helped heal my soul and given me courage. A great coach, a wonderful teacher. Robin has so many gifts to offer. I've personally benefited from her coaching and mentoring sessions. She really gets to your heart, not to what you think, but what you feel, what you're pulled toward. Robin shows up for her friends, and she'd also show up for a stranger in need if she could. One of the things I most admire about Robin is that if something doesn't go her way, she just tries again. She's inspired me so many times throughout our friendship. Robin is one of the most genuine and open-minded people I've encountered in all my wanderings. And finally, I'm very grateful to live on the earth at the same time as Robin Finney. So Robin, you're clearly making a great big impact on others by finding that magic and giving to others from living in your purpose. How does all that love make you feel?
Oh, well, I'm tearing up. Teared up the whole way through that. Wow. It's just, to me, it's a real just confirmation to my journey and the way that I've been trusting in it, because there's so many times I look back and think, oh, it would be so easy to quit, so easy to go back to, and there's nothing wrong with having a corporate job or steady paycheck, like any of that. And I just knew there was something else for me. And so it just gives me that reassurance in that regard, and really that confirmation that what I feel in my heart is transcending to all of the people around me and even people I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what this show is all about, Robin, is finding that magic in each of our lives. And it comes from this great big happy circle. Giving your time and talents and treasures, giving, right? Your time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose. And then giving from living in your purpose brings a profound joy to your life and to the lives of those around you too. That's what's so powerful about it. Giving leads to purpose, and giving from purpose leads to joy. So to more properly reflect the exponential power of our happy formula, Robin, I've got to tweak it just a little bit more. Power times purpose times giving equals happy to the third power. And that's really, truly, deeply happy. Does that sound about right?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. I learned in my sales days is stop the sale when you get a yes. So we'll move right along here. I love to wrap things up with a lightning round.
Okay.
And I love the power of words and the capacity of great quotes to change lives. You mentioned that at the top of the show. So I'm going to read a few of my favorites and have you tell us what they mean to you. Give us the first thing that comes to your mind, Robin, because it's called a lightning round. Here we go.
All right.
From Chef Francis Mallman. He says, my life has been a path at the edge of uncertainty. Today, I think we educate kids to settle in a comfortable chair. You have your job, you have your little car, you have a place to sleep, and the dreams are dead. You don't grow on a secure path.
The only thing certain in life is that life is uncertain. So why not just step towards what your heart's calling you towards?
Right on. From Adyashanti, a total acceptance of yourself brings about a total transcendence of yourself.
When we know ourselves fully and share that with others, we are inviting that experience back. So it's mirroring back to us and allowing others to share that part of themselves with us.
And isn't it crazy? Why don't we accept ourselves?
Oh,
We
yeah,
accept others so easily,
right,
but we
right.
have a hard time accepting ourselves. I was writing a post about gratitude years ago, looking for a quote, and I found that one from Adyashanti. I thought, God, that's perfect. Why don't we just do it?
Yeah. Makes life so much quicker if we do.
Oh my God, it's so great. Accept yourself, folks. From C.S. Lewis, for the present, as in the present moment. So he says, for the present is the point at which time, our time, touches all of eternity.
Yeah, the present moment is all we have. Anything beyond or behind us no longer exists. So all we have is right here in this moment. And when we're fully focused on the moment, then time doesn't even exist.
And that's, you talk about giving energy. That's where all the energy is. And I've been learning when you're in the present moment, that's when it's almost infinite, right? That's what all eternity is. But we spend all our time there and here, right?
Right.
Oh, fun stuff. This is from one from my past. And you made me think about this at opening of the show, so I'm glad I had it in my list. It says, I don't know who's the author, but I've had this one for 40 years. Your day belongs to another's dream.
Like seize the moment, like really talk about acceptance, talk about owning who you are and living with heart. It's like when we're doing that, we're opening that up for others. And it really, I like to say, like, my success is your success. Your success is my success. And it connects all of us on a greater scale.
Very good. This is from Eric Wyanmayer, the first blind person to summit Mount Everest. And he says, sometimes that fear of reaching out into the unknown paralyzes people to the point they decide not to reach out at all. He continues, for me, all the great things that have ever come to me have come through reaching out into that unknown.
The unknown is our superpower. It's in the unknown that curiosity lives, possibility lives. And that in itself is, I think, the greatest gift that we could ever give to ourselves.
Good stuff. From Goff, this is our show anchor. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
Yeah, take the first step. We often look at the big picture. We look at the mountain that's ahead of us rather than the one step in front of us. So start with the first step, start with what's easy.
Very good. Awesome. And now, folks, it's your chance to be a giver too. If you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Robin Finney, please share a little love with our marvelous broadcast team by giving what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Robin, I love the courage it took to quit your corporate job of 11 years and end your apartment lease and sell your furniture and belongings and trust the universe to guide you on a solo travel journey around the world. And I admire your passion for sharing with others all that you're learning about curiosity and wonder, authenticity and ownership, truth and intuition, and vulnerability, and living with a bold spirit. And I'm super happy that you've shared your courageous and adventurous and wondrous spirit on our show today. Will you please take a minute or two and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And for those listening, there is a call. There's something that your heart has been nudging you towards. It wakes you up at night. You may forget about it for a little bit, but then it comes back and it's not going to leave you. It's going to keep getting louder and louder and louder. So answer the call. Take the step now and just step into the unknown. Trust me, it is worth it.
That is correct, Robin. Thank you very much. And I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guest stars like Robin and reaching folks just like you, ready to create your own extraordinary lives. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to websites and social media and all things Robin Finney. find her blog, Wandering Aunt, buy her book, Transformation 2020, learn about her solo experiences that inspire you to explore the unknown with curiosity so that you can show up as your most authentic self, and much, much more. It's all available at wanderingaunt.com. All one word, WANDERINGAUNT.com. One more time, that's wanderingaunt.com. From me to you, dear friends, I love you, and I want you to be really, truly, deeply happy too. So go to happyliving.com and take our happy quiz, because when you measure your happy, you'll focus attention on it, and focusing attention on it inspires change and learning and improvement, all to flow right into your life. And once you take the quiz, and it really only takes a minute, then please give some thought about what we can do together, you and me, to improve the happy of your world, one person at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome. And this is the Something Significant Show. And we're out.